relinquish. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world that seems to thrive on drama, from television shows to social media, even to the conflicts in our personal relationships, drama has become so normalized that many of us don't realize how much energy it drains from our lives. Emotional chaos is not just noise outside of us. It's often a storm within us. And if we want to live with peace, clarity, and strength, we must learn how to end drama and calm the chaos inside our hearts and minds. The first step in ending drama is recognizing that not every battle deserves your attention. Too often we are pulled into arguments, gossip, and emotional games because we feel the need to prove ourselves right or defend our ego. But ask yourself, is winning an argument worth losing your peace? The truth is, peace is far more valuable than being right, When you refuse to engage in unnecessary conflict, you take back your power, silence self-control, and walking away are not signs of weakness. They are signs of wisdom. Relinquish. The second key is self-awareness. Emotional chaos usually comes when we are not in control of ourselves. A small comment from someone, a delay in plans, or a moment of rejection suddenly sets us off. Why? Because we allow outside forces to dictate our inner world. But when you develop awareness of your triggers, you gain the ability to pause, breathe, and choose a better response. Instead of reacting, you respond with clarity. That is the beginning of emotional mastery. The third step is to set boundaries. Drama thrives in environments where there are no limits. If people know they can dump their negativity, disrespect your time, or manipulate your emotions, they will continue to do so. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are guidelines that protect your peace and energy. When you say no with confidence, when you refuse to entertain gossip, when you distance yourself from toxic influences, you are sending a clear message. My life is not a stage for unnecessary drama. The fourth way to end drama and emotional chaos is to stop feeding it with your own mind. Many times, the chaos we experience is not from others, but from the stories we replay in our heads. We overthink, we assume, we exaggerate problems, and we relive painful conversations long after they're over, This mental drama is often louder than any conflict around us. To break free, you must practice letting go, meditation, journaling, deep breathing, relinquish. or simply shifting your focus to gratitude can silence the noise inside. Quish. What you focus on grows, so focus on peace, not problems. Lastly, quish. Choose relationships and environments that nourish your spirit. Quish. Peaceful people create peaceful spaces. Linquish. When you surround yourself with those who inspire positivity, quish, who listen without judgment, who encourage growth instead of chaos, quish, you naturally align with balance and stability, linquish. And even if you cannot change your environment completely, quish, you can always change how you show up within it. Be the calm in the storm, relinquish. When you carry peace inside you, others cannot drag you into their drama, quish. My friends, life is too short to live in emotional chaos. Drama is addictive, quish. But peace is transformative. You were not created to live in constant conflict, quish, stress, and overthinking. You were created to live with clarity, joy, and strength, quish. And that begins with a choice, the choice to stop reacting, to set boundaries, quish, to master your emotions, and to walk away from what does not serve your peace, quish. When you make that choice, drama loses its power, quish. When emotional chaos no longer controls you, quish. And you discover a truth that changes everything. Peace is not something you chase, inquish. It's something you create from within. Thank you. Linquish. Choosing peace over ego is one of the most powerful decisions a person can make. Relinquish. When yet it is also one of the most difficult because our ego is constantly hungry for validation. Relinquish. When recognition and the need to prove itself right, whenever a drama arises, relinquish. Whether in personal relationships, at work, or even in casual interactions, relinquish. When our ego steps forward and whispers that we must defend ourselves, quish, that we must not let someone else have the last word, linquish, that we must prove our point no matter the cost, quish. This instinct to protect and inflate the ego often creates unnecessary conflict and escalates situations that could have otherwise ended peacefully. Relinquish. When we learn to choose peace over ego, we shift from reacting to responding, quish, from fighting to understanding, and from seeking victory to seeking harmony, linquish. This is not about weakness or letting others walk over us, linquish, but about realizing that our inner calm is more valuable than any temporary satisfaction that comes from winning an argument, quish. Imagine a situation where someone insults you or spreads gossip about you, quish. The ego will immediately want to retaliate, linquish, to attack back with words sharper than theirs, quish, to prove to others that you are not to be disrespected, quish. But But what happens if you choose not to engage? What happens if you stay silent, relinquish, or better yet, respond with calmness and dignity, quish? The drama dissolves because it requires your participation to survive, quish. Drama is like a fire that feeds on fuel, quish. And your ego provides that fuel when you argue, justify, or defend, relinquish. Without your contribution, the flame eventually burns out. In that moment, quish, you have not lost anything. In fact, quish, you have gained more than you can imagine. You have gained peace, control, relinquish, and the respect that comes from strength in restraint, quish. This approach does not mean you suppress your emotions or deny when something hurts, quish. Choosing peace over ego means acknowledging your feelings, but not letting them dictate your actions, relinquish. It means understanding that your emotions are temporary waves, relinquish, while peace is a long-lasting state you can protect, quish. People who are truly strong do not need to shout the loudest, win every debate, quish, or prove themselves in every battle, quish. They carry a quiet confidence that their worth is not defined by how others perceive them or by the outcome of a single argument. Relinquish. When you realize that your value does not decrease when someone fails to see it, quish, you become free from the trap of ego-driven drama, quish. Another important aspect of choosing peace over ego is the ability to pause, quish. The pause is a sacred space between what triggers you and how you respond. In that pause, quish, you have the opportunity to decide whether to act from ego or from peace, quish. Most people rush to react because ego hates silence. It craves an immediate defense, quish. But when you learn to pause, take a breath, quish, and reflect on whether responding will truly serve your peace, relinquish, you will often find that silence is more powerful than any words you could have spoken, relinquish. It is in that pause that you reclaim your freedom from emotional chaos, quish. We also need to recognize that ego thrives on comparison and competition, quish. It always wants to be better, smarter, stronger, and more respected than others, relinquish. But when life becomes a constant competition, every interaction can turn into drama, relinquish. Someone else's success feels like your failure, quish. And their mistake feels like your opportunity to rise, quish. Peace over ego means understanding that there is no need to compete for validation because your worth is already complete and independent of others, quish. You no longer need to outshine someone else to feel valuable. Instead, relinquish. You can celebrate others while resting in the calm confidence of your own path, quish. It is also worth noting that choosing peace over ego often brings long-term rewards, even if it feels difficult in the moment, You may lose the short-lived satisfaction of winning a fight, but you gain trust, respect, and inner stability. People begin to see you as someone who does not get easily shaken, someone who is steady and reliable, someone whose presence calms rather than ignites chaos, relinquish. This kind of reputation is far more powerful than being known as someone who always argues, when always defends and always tries to be right. In fact, when you consistently choose peace, you inspire others to rise above drama themselves, Your actions become an example of strength, maturity, and emotional intelligence, showing people that true power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering yourself, Choosing peace over ego is ultimately about freedom, The ego enslaves you to every opinion, every insult, and every misunderstanding, while peace liberates you from all of it. The ego keeps you chained to the drama, but peace allows you to walk away without losing yourself, The ego demands you fight every battle, But peace reminds you that not every battle is worth fighting, And while ego constantly looks outward for approval and victory, peace turns inward, where the real treasure lies in stillness, clarity, and calmness. Relinquish. Mastering self-awareness is at the heart of ending drama and emotional chaos, because without understanding yourself, you are like a ship sailing without direction, tossed around by every wave that comes your way, Most of the drama in life does not actually come from the outside world, but from our inner reactions to it, A single comment, a facial expression, a delay, or even silence from someone can trigger a storm within us, And suddenly we find ourselves overthinking, overreacting, and creating chaos out of something small, This happens because we are not aware of our triggers and how deeply they affect us, Self-awareness is the ability to pause and observe yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your impulses, without immediately acting on them, It gives you the power to respond wisely rather than react blindly, Without this awareness, you are controlled by your emotions. With it, you are in control of them, The first part of self-awareness is noticing patterns in your life, Think about the conflicts or emotional chaos that repeat themselves, Do you often get irritated when you feel ignored? Relinquish. Do you react strongly When someone questions your abilities, quish. Do you feel defensive when criticized? These patterns are not random, relinquish. They are clues pointing toward unresolved emotions within you, quish. When you take time to notice them, relinquish. You begin to understand what triggers your drama and why, quish. Many people live without examining these patterns, and as a result, quish, they repeat the same conflicts in different situations, relinquish, never realizing the root is inside them, quish. Self-awareness breaks this cycle by shining a light on what was hidden, relinquish, allowing you to see yourself clearly, relinquish. Another important aspect of self-awareness is recognizing the difference between thoughts and reality, relinquish. Our minds are storytellers, constantly adding layers of meaning to simple events, relinquish. A friend does not reply to a message, and instantly the mind creates a story, relinquish. They are ignoring me, they must be upset with me, quish. Maybe they don't value me anymore, quish. This imagined story creates emotional chaos where none existed, relinquish. Self-awareness helps you catch these thoughts before they take over, relinquish. You can step back and say, this is just my mind creating a story, quish. It may not be true. By observing your thoughts instead of becoming them, quish, you stop feeding unnecessary drama. Emotional self-awareness is equally powerful, quish. Many times we feel anger, sadness, relinquish, or frustration, but do not pause to ask ourselves why, quish. We project these feelings outward and blame others, quish, which only adds fuel to conflict, relinquish. But when you become aware of your emotions in the moment, quish, you can ask yourself deeper questions. What am I really feeling, quish? What am I afraid of? Why is this situation affecting me so much? Often, quish. Beneath anger lies hurt. Beneath defensiveness lies insecurity, relinquish. And beneath jealousy lies fear of being left behind. When you see these truths, quish, you no longer lash out blindly. Instead, quish, you can work on healing the real cause of the chaos within, relinquish. Self-awareness also allows you to take responsibility instead of playing the role of a victim, relinquish. Drama thrives when we blame others for our feelings, quish, saying things like, they made me angry, or they ruined my day. In reality, relinquish. No one can control your inner state without your permission, quish. Self-awareness teaches you that while you cannot control others, relinquish. You can always control how you choose to interpret and respond, relinquish. This shift from blame to responsibility is liberating, relinquish, because it puts the power back in your hands, quish. Instead of waiting for the world to change, relinquish. You become the change in how you handle the world, relinquish. Developing self-awareness requires practice, and simple daily habits can help. Relinquish. Journaling your emotions, practicing mindfulness, meditating, relinquish, or simply taking a few deep breaths before reacting are ways to strengthen this skill. Over time, relinquish. You will notice that situations which once triggered strong reactions no longer disturb you as much. You will be able to step back, observe your thoughts and emotions, when choose peace over chaos. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Another dimension of self-awareness is understanding how your energy affects others. Drama is not only about what happens inside you, it is also about what you project into the environment. If you are tense, negative, or reactive, people around you will respond in the same way, creating a cycle of conflict. Relinquish. But when you are aware of your own presence and the energy you carry into interactions, relinquish. You can consciously choose to bring calmness, patience, and kindness instead. Relinquish. This shifts the dynamic and often prevents drama from even beginning. Ultimately, mastering self-awareness means knowing yourself so deeply that the world can no longer control you. Relinquish. It means you can face challenges without being consumed by them. Relinquish. Handle conflicts without losing your center. And live with clarity even in the midst of chaos. Self-awareness gives you the inner space to breathe, to pause, to reflect, and to respond with wisdom instead of impulse. Relinquish. It is the foundation upon which peace is built. Relinquish. Because only when you truly know yourself can you rise above drama and find the calm that already exists within you. Relinquish. Setting healthy boundaries is one of the most essential practices for ending drama and emotional chaos, because without boundaries, you leave your inner world exposed to the demands, negativity, and manipulations of others. Relinquish. Boundaries are not about shutting people out or becoming cold. They are about creating clear lines that protect your mental, emotional, relinquish, and even physical well-being. Drama thrives where there are no limits, because people will take as much space, energy, and attention as you allow them. When you begin to set boundaries, you are sending a strong message that your peace is a priority, that your time and energy are valuable, relinquish, and that you will not allow others to misuse them. Relinquish. This act of self-respect naturally reduces chaos because it filters out situations and people that thrive on creating unnecessary conflict. Boundaries begin with recognizing your own needs and limits. Relinquish. Many people struggle with drama because they do not clearly define what is acceptable and unacceptable in their relationships. Relinquish. They tolerate gossip, disrespect, or toxic behavior because they fear rejection or do not want to appear unkind. Relinquish. But every time you allow something that goes against your values or harms your peace, you create inner conflict. Relinquish. And that inner conflict eventually turns into emotional chaos. Relinquish. By becoming clear with yourself about what you will and will not accept. Relinquish. You lay the foundation for healthier interactions. For example, relinquish. You may decide that you will no longer participate in conversations that revolve around tearing others down, or that you will not allow constant last-minute demands on your time. Relinquish. These small but firm decisions create boundaries that preserve your energy. Once you know your limits, the next step is communicating them. Relinquish. Setting boundaries does not work if they only live in your mind. Relinquish. They must be expressed with clarity and confidence. This can feel uncomfortable, especially if you are used to pleasing others or avoiding conflict. Relinquish. But it is a necessary step to protect your peace. Relinquish. When someone tries to drag you into drama, you can say calmly, I don't want to be part of this conversation. Or when someone continually disrespects your time, relinquish. You can firmly respond, relinquish. I need more notice before making plans. These statements are not rude, they are acts of self-care. The more you practice communicating your boundaries, the easier it becomes, and the less drama finds its way into your life. A key part of boundaries is consistency. Drama often persists when people notice that your boundaries are flexible, when that you say no once but eventually give in, or that you express limits but fail to enforce them. To truly end emotional chaos, your boundaries must be firm and consistent, This means if you say you will not tolerate disrespect, you follow through by removing yourself from situations where it occurs. Relinquish. If you say you cannot be available at all times, relinquish. You do not break your own rule the moment someone pressures you. Relinquish. Consistency teaches others how to treat you, and over time, relinquish. They adjust to the structure you have created. Relinquish. Those who thrive on drama may resist at first. Relinquish. But their resistance is simply a sign that your boundaries are working. Another dimension of boundaries is understanding that they are not only for other people, but also for yourself. Sometimes we are the ones who create our own chaos by overcommitting, overthinking, relinquish, or giving too much of ourselves without rest, relinquish. A personal boundary might be limiting your screen time to avoid being sucked into online drama, relinquish, or giving yourself permission to rest instead of always saying yes to others, quish. By respecting your own limits, quish, you protect yourself from burnout and emotional overwhelm, quish, which are breeding grounds for chaos, quish. Self-boundaries are the backbone of self-discipline, relinquish. And they allow you to live in alignment with your priorities instead of being pulled in every direction, quish. It is also important to understand that setting boundaries is not about control, but about responsibility, quish. You cannot control how others behave, quish, but you can control how much access they have to you, quish. You may not be able to change a toxic coworker, quish, but you can decide how much of their negativity you absorb, relinquish. You cannot stop someone from gossiping, but you can refuse to participate, relinquish. Boundaries shift the focus from trying to manage others to managing yourself, relinquish, which is the only true power you have, relinquish. This shift drastically reduces drama because you stop wasting energy trying to fix people and instead focus on protecting your own inner peace, relinquish. Healthy boundaries also allow you to cultivate healthier, quish, more authentic relationships. When people know your limits and respect them, relinquish, your interactions become more honest and balanced, relinquish. You no longer feel resentment because you are not overextending yourself, quish, and others no longer feel confused about where you stand, relinquish. Clear boundaries create respect, quish. When respect eliminates much of the conflict that comes from misunderstandings, quish. In this way, quish, boundaries not only reduce drama, but also strengthen trust and harmony in your relationships. Narratives is one of the most powerful ways to end drama and emotional chaos because so much of the turmoil we experience is not caused by reality itself, but by the stories tell ourselves about reality, tell ourselves reality, quish. The human mind is a storyteller, constantly interpreting, exaggerating, quish, and adding meaning to events. Something as small as a delayed reply, quish, when a disapproving look, relinquish, or a missed invitation can spiral into hours of overthinking when our mind creates a narrative around it, quish. Instead of simply seeing the event for what it is, we begin to weave stories like, they don't care about me. I must have done something wrong. Or people always take me for granted. These stories trigger emotions that may not even be connected to the truth. Wrong, quish. And soon we are caught in emotion hell, chaos that exists and it's only in our imagination. Relinquish. Learning to control these internal narratives is the key to peace. Relinquish. Because it allows us to separate what is happening from what we are adding to it in our minds. Quish. The first step in controlling these narratives is awareness. Relinquish. Many people are unaware of how often they are carried away by their thoughts. Relinquish. Believing every word their mind whispers as if it were absolute truth. Relinquish. But thoughts are not facts. They are interpretations shaped by our past experiences, fears, and insecurities. If you have been betrayed before, relinquish. Your mind may interpret someone's silence as a sign of disloyalty. Relinquish. If you have struggled with self-worth, your mind may interpret a piece of constructive criticism as proof that you are not good enough. By becoming aware that your mind is coloring reality with its own stories, relinquish. You can begin to pause and question whether what you are thinking is really true. Once you are aware, the next step is to challenge the narratives. When your mind tells you a story, ask yourself, is there evidence for this? Relinquish. Could there be another explanation? Relinquish. Or am I assuming the worst without knowing the full picture? For example, relinquish. If someone does not answer your call, relinquish. Instead of immediately assuming they are ignoring you, consider possibilities like they are busy, their phone died, relinquish, or they are simply not in the mood to talk. By opening yourself to alternative explanations, relinquish. You loosen the grip of negative narratives and prevent unnecessary drama from taking over. Another powerful practice in controlling internal narratives is reframing. Reframing does not mean denying reality, but shifting how you interpret it in a way that empowers you rather than weakens you. Relinquish. For instance, instead of thinking, relinquish, they criticized me because I am not good enough, you can reframe it as, their feedback is an opportunity for me to improve. Instead of relinquish, people don't care about me, you can reframe it as, maybe they are dealing with their own struggles that I am not aware of. Reframing creates space for compassion, when resilience and understanding, while stopping the negative spiral of assumptions that lead to chaos. It is also important to recognize how internal narratives feed emotional triggers. Relinquish. When you tell yourself a negative story, your body reacts as if it were real. Your heart races, your muscles tense, your mind spins faster, and suddenly you are consumed by stress or anger, yet nothing has actually happened except in your imagination, By catching these stories early, you prevent them from escalating into full emotional storms, A helpful practice is to use mindfulness to anchor yourself in the present moment, reminding yourself that your thoughts are not reality, bringing attention to your breath, your surroundings, or even repeating a grounding phrase like, "This is just a thought," can disrupt the cycle of chaos before it grows stronger, Another layer of controlling internal narratives involves letting go of the past, Many of the stories we tell ourselves are rooted in old wounds that have never healed, A critical boss may trigger the memory of a critical parent, and suddenly you are reliving not just the current moment, but years of unresolved pain, When this is why small incidents sometimes cause disproportionately strong reactions, By reflecting on your past and recognizing how it influences your current interpretations, you can begin to separate the old story from the present reality, healing those old wounds through self, reflection, therapy, or forgiveness can reduce the power of negative narratives and bring more clarity into your interactions, It is also essential to practice compassion toward yourself when working with internal narratives, The goal is not to silence the mind completely, which is impossible, but to become a gentle observer who does not automatically believe every thought, When your mind creates a negative story, instead of criticizing yourself for overthinking, treat yourself with kindness and patience, Self-compassion allows you to step back from your thoughts without being consumed by them, giving you the strength to rewrite the story in a healthier way. Ultimately, controlling internal narratives is about choosing peace over the chaos that your mind can create, The world outside may have challenges, but it is the world inside that determines how much drama you experience, By becoming aware of your thoughts, questioning their validity, reframing their meaning, and healing the wounds that shape them, you reclaim your power from the stories that once controlled you. Surrounding yourself with positivity is a powerful step toward ending drama and emotional chaos because the environment and the people you associate with a profound effect on your emotional on your emotional state. Relinquish Human beings naturally absorb the energy around them, whether it is uplifting or draining, relinquish. When you are surrounded by people who thrive on gossip, conflict, and negativity, relinquish. It becomes almost impossible to maintain inner peace. Their words, attitudes, relinquish. When behaviors seep into your own life, and before you realize it, you find yourself caught in an unnecessary drama simply because of the company you keep, relinquish. On the other hand, when you choose to surround yourself with people who value peace, growth, and kindness, relinquish, you begin to mirror those qualities and create an atmosphere where chaos struggles to survive. The first element of surrounding yourself with positivity is being intentional about the relationships you allow into your life. Every person you spend time with either adds to your peace or takes away from it. Relinquish. Take a close look at the people around you. Do they lift you up or pull you down? Do they encourage your growth or keep you stuck in cycles of drama? Many times, we hold on to relationships out of habit, obligation, or fear of loneliness, even when those connections constantly feed negativity, relinquish. Choosing positivity may require letting go of certain people or creating distance between yourself and those who drain your energy. This does not mean you hate them or wish them harm, but rather that you are protecting your well-being by being selective with who gets access to your inner world. Another part of cultivating positivity is to intentionally seek out individuals who inspire, motivate, and encourage you. Relinquish. Spend time with people who focus on solutions instead of problems. Relinquish. Who believe in your potential instead of doubting you. Who speak words of kindness instead of judgment. When these relationships nourish your spirit and help you rise above the temptation to engage in conflict or negativity, relinquish. When you are surrounded by positive people, relinquish. Their energy influences your own mindset, and you begin to see challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. Just as negativity is contagious, so is positivity. Relinquish. And choosing the right circle of influence can drastically reduce drama in your life. Relinquish. It is also essential to surround yourself with environments that reflect peace and positivity. Relinquish. This includes your physical space as well as the digital spaces you engage with daily. A cluttered, chaotic environment can contribute to mental chaos, while a clean, organized, and calming space promotes clarity and relaxation. Similarly, relinquish. The content you consume online plays a huge role in shaping your emotions. Relinquish. If your social media feed is filled with arguments, gossip, and toxic discussions, you will absorb that energy. But if you follow pages, podcasts, and channels that promote growth, mindfulness, and positivity, you feed your mind with uplifting content that supports your journey toward peace. Choosing what to consume is just as important as choosing who to spend time with. Relinquish. Because both influence the atmosphere of your inner life. Relinquish. Surrounding yourself with positivity also means learning how to contribute positivity yourself. Relinquish. Often, people wait for their environment to change before they feel peace. But you have the ability to create that atmosphere through your own actions. Be the person who refuses to engage in gossip. Who chooses kindness even when it is difficult. Relinquish. Who encourages others when they are down. When you consistently bring positivity to your environment, relinquish. You attract others with similar energy, and together you create spaces where drama has no place to grow. Relinquish. The energy you give out acts like a magnet, pulling similar energy toward you. Relinquish. Which is why embodying positivity is as important as seeking it in others. Relinquish. It is also worth mentioning that surrounding yourself with positivity is not about ignoring reality or pretending that life is always perfect. Challenges and conflicts will always exist. But the people and environments you choose can help you face them with resilience instead of fear. Positive people do not avoid problems. They approach them with calmness, wisdom. When a solution-oriented mindset, by placing yourself in their company, you learn to adopt the same perspective, and over time, drama loses its hold on you because you no longer see conflict as something that defines your life, but as something you can handle with grace. Finally, relinquish. Surrounding yourself with positivity often requires courage because it may mean breaking away from old habits, relationships, or environments that no longer serve you. Relinquish. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but the rewards are immeasurable. As you gradually align yourself with people and spaces that uplift your spirit. Relinquish. You begin to notice how much lighter you feel, how much clearer your mind becomes, and how much less chaos enters your life. Relinquish. The more you surround yourself with peace and positivity, relinquish. The more you internalize those qualities, and soon they become part of your natural way of being. Being the calm in the storm is one of the most transformative practices for ending drama and emotional chaos because it shifts the focus from reacting to the external world to cultivating strength and stability within yourself and one's own world. Life will always bring storms, arguments, disappointments, stress, unexpected changes, and people who thrive on creating conflict. You cannot control these external circumstances. Relinquish. But you can control how you show up in the middle of them. When you embody calmness, you become like a steady anchor in turbulent waters. Instead of being tossed around by every wave, you stand grounded, And that inner steadiness not only protects your peace, but also influences those around you. People are drawn to calm energy. And when you carry it with you, you can transform the atmosphere of any situation. The foundation of being calm in the storm is emotional regulation. Most chaos arises when people act from a place of uncontrolled emotion. Anger, fear, jealousy, or frustration. When someone provokes you, Your natural instinct may be to lash out, defend yourself, or escalate the conflict. But calmness allows you to pause before reacting. That pause is powerful because it gives you the space to choose wisdom instead of impulse. Relinquish. This does not mean you suppress your emotions, or pretend you are not affected. Relinquish. But it means you acknowledge your feelings without letting them dictate your behavior. By practicing deep breathing, mindfulness, or simply taking a moment of silence before responding, you create a buffer between the storm outside and the calm you maintain inside. Another important aspect of being calm in the storm is perspective. Often, drama feels overwhelming because we magnify it in our minds. Treating temporary problems as if they define our entire lives. Relinquish. Calmness comes from stepping back and asking yourself whether this situation will matter a week from now, a month from now, or even a year from now. Most of the time, the answer is no. Relinquish. And realizing this allows you to release the weight of the moment. Perspective shrinks the power of drama and reminds you that not every storm deserves your energy. It helps you focus on what truly matters instead of being consumed by distractions that only create chaos. Being calm in the storm also requires self-confidence and trust in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. People often get caught in emotional chaos because they doubt themselves and feel powerless in the face of challenges. Calmness arises when you trust that you are strong enough to handle difficulties, that you do not need to react to every provocation, and that you can remain centered even when others lose control, This inner strength does not develop overnight, but grows through practice, reflection, and the willingness to face challenges with patience instead of panic. The more you practice calmness, the more natural it becomes, until it turns into your default response in difficult situations, Another dimension of being the calm in the storm is recognizing the influence you have on others, Drama spreads quickly because emotional energy is contagious, When someone around you is angry, fearful, or anxious, that energy can easily pull you into the same state if you are not grounded, But calmness is equally contagious. When you remain steady, speak softly, and hold your peace in the midst of tension, others begin to mirror your energy, Your calmness can diffuse arguments, ease tension, and create an atmosphere where solutions can be found. In this way, being calm is not only a gift to yourself, but also to the people around you, because you become a stabilizing presence in their storm, It is also worth noting that calmness is not passivity, Being calm does not mean allowing others to walk over you or ignoring problems that need to be addressed, True calmness is active. It is the strength to respond with clarity, When the discipline to maintain boundaries without anger, and the wisdom to choose your battles carefully. When you are calm, relinquish. You can assert yourself firmly without aggression, You can solve problems without escalating them, And you can protect your peace without engaging in unnecessary drama, Calmness gives you the clarity to act effectively instead of getting lost in emotional noise, Finally, being the calm in the storm is a practice of alignment with inner peace rather than external chaos, The storms of life will never completely disappear, They are part of the human experience. But when you cultivate calmness, you no longer depend on external circumstances to determine your state of mind, When you carry peace within you like a shield, and no matter what storms arise, you return to that inner stillness again and again. Over time, This calmness becomes your greatest strength, allowing you to live with clarity, resilience, and balance even in a world that constantly tries to pull you into drama,